Welcome, ladies, to the Real Estate Investor Show, providing inspiration, strategies, and insight to empower women investors to live balanced and financially free lives. Now, here are your co-hosts, Liz and Andresa.
Welcome back, ladies. This is Liz.
And this is Andresa.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Investor Show. Our mission, our focus in our life is to empower women to live a financially free and balanced life. So thank you for coming back, joining us for another week. Right, Andresa?
It is. That was deep.
Well, you know, it's we're excited to have this episode today. And we always like to get connected with all of you. And I'm going to be interviewing Andresa.
There we
this
go.
Week. She was feeling a little neglected because she had interviewed me about a month ago. And so I said, it is time for me to interview you.
All right.
And so before we get to that, I want to share a quick little story on Andresa, because, you know, we like to kind of get connected to all of you amazing women, the women that are joining us for the duration of the 4 years we've been podcasting. And for the women who've literally just found us, thank you so much. Where have you been? No, I'm joking. But thank you so much for joining us. We know time is not taken lightly. So we really appreciate you making time to connect. We like to get to it as fast as we can because women do not have the time. So I'm going to give a quick little story and then we're going to jump into Andresa today, which I'm really, really excited about. So I went to a retreat this past weekend. It was a small group of women, about 6 women. And it was a very powerful weekend. We got a chance to connect and relax. We're part of a mastermind together. So it was nice to just connect and build relationships. We also did some really neat exercises. One in particular I wanted to share. You know, when you go to these sessions, you go to retreats, you go to conferences, and you hear what you're going to do. And, you know, for me, I've been to a lot of these types of things over the course of my years being on this earth. I won't tell you how many. And one thing the gentleman who was leading it said, "Oh, we're going to do a values exercise." And I'm like, "Oh God, how many times?"
Here we go again.
Here we go again. I know my values, family, I can name them, you know, so to speak. But let's see what he has to say. And I was very open to it. And I like the guy a lot. He had a lot of value to bring to the table. So he gave us a worksheet. It's called the DeMartini Value Determination Process.
Was it 5 p.m.?
It was not 5 p.m. It was actually it was first thing in the morning.
Oh God, DeMartini, and I don't drink, right? But DeMartini, like, how can you say that word and not think about a martini?
I know. And actually, it's the name of I think it's John. Yeah, I think it's John DeMartini. He was actually in The Secret. He was one of the thought leaders in The Secret and has done a lot of work around how important it is when you know your values to the T, how important it is to know that in order to make decisions, in order to run your life more effectively. Like, it's pretty deep how he says it's not just important to know your values, but actually to know them from a running your life perspective. And it creates a lot of peace and clarity in your life. Anyway, we went through this exercise, asked a series of questions, and I'm writing down different things. And then you have like a final hierarchy of your values, right? After writing all these different things. And I wanted to share this because I knew that Investor I spent a lot of time doing it. It's a very important value. But what's the value? It's like a business, right? Is the business the value? Not really, but what is the value there? And I got connected with what is Andresa and I up to with all these amazing women, right? Globally, creating that intimate global community. What are we up to? Legacy popped in my head. And now that created such a depth of my connection to our business. And I'm deeply connected to it, but it created like this new, like, love for our business, love what we're doing, you know? And so when I think of our business and I think about podcasting or all the stuff we're up to, Andresa, I'm like, that's right. We're creating legacy for future generations. And I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. I'm going to jump into today. Right. Because I'm excited about that. The other thing that was interesting is that, like, where do you spend your time? Where do you spend your money? And, you know, obviously buying investments or looking to invest your finances, it's an important piece. We go over that with our kids, right? We spend time talking and thinking about it. But what is that really? Like, investments? Okay. It's a little hollow, not hollow, but it's like, I don't feel like connected to it as much. But then I thought about like the impact of contribution. You know, the more you make, the more you can contribute to people's lives. That gets me excited. That really gets me excited. Not so much the investment, but what I can do with it, right? Not just for my family, but obviously the world. So my point in sharing this, number one, if you've not looked at your values in a long time, check out DeMartini. And if you Googled it, I'm sure you can find it. He's a great thought leader. But more importantly, when you look at your values, get a little deeper. What are they? Are you crystal clear on what they are and what do they mean to you? Like really, really mean to you. It's a very, very important thing to do. Secondly, I wanted to share, Andresa and I think one of the things I adored about her when I met her was that our quest for personal growth, and not just growing to grow, but really going to experiences. And this was an experience, right? Small group of women. Andresa and I are just incredibly excited. If you've not heard, we are in the midst of organizing and hosting an in-person Investor Con this June, which is June 23rd and June 24th in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is going to be much more than a traditional conference. This is going to be a full circle transformational experience where women are not only going to be going to phenomenal sessions, speakers, breakouts, networking, all the things we know of conferences have, but we are going well beyond that, where women are going to, I'm not going to tell all the secrets here, but you're going to get an experience and you're going to meet a small group of women, a large group of women, where you can really work on not just yourself, because you're amazing already, but really where do you want to go and who are you going to go along with? And that's really what these 2 days are going to be about. Andresa, we are just spending a lot of energy and time and an entire team we have putting this together. So you got to check it out. The link is in our show notes. Go to our website. This is going to be the conference of the year, if I can just say that so boldly. So
it will, because, Liz and I, it's every single thing that we have put together for this conference, we thought about it from a woman's needs, goals, schedules perspective. Many of us, and I think you can relate if you have been in a real estate conference before, we get out more exhausted than we got in. So we are mindful of the breaks and the details. Your bathroom will be different. Write down what I'm saying because it will be. And every single speaker that we handpicked, the keynote, everybody has a very intentional delivery to you that you have not heard before. So that's a very high commitment that we have with you. And it will be the best conference that you ever attended. And I'm guarantee you that. Guarantee you that, because you're going to make the connections that you did not make before. And that's what really, really matters for us.
Absolutely. So without further ado, I'm really excited to interview Andresa, because she is just, and I don't have to just say this because I'm getting paid big bucks from her. No, I'm joking, but she's literally one of my favorite people in this entire world. I knew when I met her many moons ago that I was not just meeting a friend, but like someone who is going to have your back, someone who's going to grow with you, learn with you, have breakthroughs with you. Something really special about her when I first met her. I didn't know what it was going to look like. We didn't talk about Investor, none of this, but I just knew it was a special person, a deep person, and someone who is just had such a uniqueness to her. So I really do adore Andresa, and I thank her for so much in so many ways. She's someone who's taught me a lot, not just about what we're going to talk about today, about construction and contractors, which is quite honestly incredibly important, but she has taught me a lot about myself and being a better version of myself. So I really do adore, I adore my co-host here so much, and my partner.
Oh, you're sweet, honey.
I know I can keep going.
I'll send you the check later.
Thank you. Please do. I'll make sure of that. So here's what I'm going to talk about today. Just to give you some context before we jump into this topic. Andresa and I started working together. We started doing, we were good friends, but our first kind of official like business partnership was a flip in Philadelphia. And why I want to say this before we're going to, get into Andresa's, kind of some of the things she's working on today, is because one of the things that I knew that I lacked, and my husband lacked for that matter, was project management. That's skill and knowledge, not just of construction, but the project management aspect. So here Andresa was flipping, I think what you do 15 at a time at that point. You were doing tons of different deals. And we were like kind of tapped in our local market. We had met, and I forget I think it was you that brought the deal, I think initially. But anyway, point being is like, what did we bring to the table? What did Andresa bring to the table? And she had such a knack for not only managing the construction and managing the contractors, but quite honestly, managing the timeline and the budget, which is it's everything when you're actually managing these projects from, flipping to new construction, et cetera. So right there, I'm like, wow, look at her genius go, because she just she ran it like she needed to run it, and we got it done, quickly and probably under budget too. So let's go to your current project. And it's probably your most favorite project. So tell all the women what you're up to right now. And then we're going to dive into the world of some of the things you're experiencing right now to help them apply it in their own lives.
Sure. So one thing that I found out by building several properties at the same time is that the quantity does not fulfill me. Then I learned, okay, new construction, done it, learn it, what else? What else can I do? So there wasn't like a fulfillment out of it, right? But I really like construction, so it's something that I pivot into different directions so I can devote more time into different areas. But what is different about the project that I'm doing it right now is that I built houses before, and now I'm building a home, my first home. After my divorce, by myself from A to Z, the entire thing. And I wanted the experience to be different than before. I wanted to have this sense of ease more than ever, right? And I was like, I don't want this house to have the energy of like, what the hell is going on over here? For the love of God, can somebody do it correctly or do it on time? Can you please show up? Sometimes we are just begging for people to show up. If they show up on time, come on. Oh, you got the job because you were just showing up. I feel that nowadays that's what's going on. And my experience has been really, really different this time. And I think that the secret, I would say, quote unquote, the secret is that I check my tolerance level and I level up. So what I tolerate now is not what I tolerated before. It's very simple, very quick. What I tolerate now is not what I tolerated before. Therefore, there's no other way. I have to attract and work with people that have a high standard, high integrity, to be quite honest, and just run their general contractor business as a business. And I don't need to micromanage. If I have to micromanage, it's not the right partnership. So it's been a very interesting experience, and I was able to really step out. I'm big time into delegating, automating, and doing all that good stuff, right?
Mhm.
But really step out a lot more. So I like that a lot. I like
I know you
that
do.
experience a lot. And when
Yeah.
I met the contractor that I'm working with right now was because of my demolition guy was not following through. So I was like, here we go. And then you and I, Liz, had different conversations. And then what I said, it was like, well, I'm not gonna tolerate that type of stress. And I'm just gonna embrace it. And even though I already, make a commitment with you, it's not working out, I'm going to look for somebody else that can follow through with what they say and do it. And I went ahead and made the choice to work on my primary house with somebody that I never worked before.
Okay. So there's a bunch of things I kind of want to break down here. few ways we can go here. And so let's go back to something you said a moment ago. I mean, and I'm going to ask you obvious questions that I know the answer, but I want the women who are listening to know this. How many years have you been working in construction and flipping properties and et cetera? How many years?
Since 2012.
Okay.
11,
about 10 years.
12.
Yeah. About a decade.
Yeah.
How many properties have you been involved in terms of flipping, new construction, renovating, et cetera?
Dozens.
Yeah.
Small projects, larger projects, dozens.
So tell us a little bit about when you said in a moment ago, you said, I'm not willing to tolerate what I have tolerated in the past. Because you've always been a phenomenal
Yeah.
at managing projects. That's not something like new that you're
Yeah.
bringing to the table right now. But
Mm-hmm.
help me understand a little bit about that, because you're evolving, right? We're all
Yeah.
evolving as investors. We're evolving as women.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just curious, tell us more about that.
When we think about construction and general contractor, a couple of things naturally come to mind of a lot of women. Oh God, it's gonna be a stressful thing. It's just part of the
Mm,
process. They're
mm,
not gonna show up on time. Budget, forget about budget.
yeah.
And that's what it's quote unquote expected. So I don't know if we attract that or not, but before I tolerated a lot of like not showing up, saying one thing and doing something else, and have that kind of like common quote unquote like level of stress that came with it.
Yeah.
And I'm not about that anymore. I don't want to have stress with you. I don't want to, with anybody that I work with, the general contract, and I don't want to bring this energy to my house.
Mm,
So when I thought about what do I really want? What do I really want? I want somebody with integrity that shows up. I want somebody that it's fair with the pricing. Somebody that is organized with their business. Come on. Is that asking too much? I don't think so. And I think those people are out there. We just tolerate the like minimum and the mediocre
yep.
jobs that people don't show up, or they say they're going to send you an estimate, but the estimate is like funky and not broken down, and they talk to you in a very demeanor way. So see, I can go on and on
Sure.
with
Mhm.
those, and I no longer wanted to tolerate that. And I was like, I don't want to even see the red flags, because if I see the red flag, what's the point over here? I do think the great people are out there. Several general contractors that I can start naming over here, they're great people,
Yeah.
and they just do it, and I want to work with them. I want to work with the great people that run their business as a business. That's a non-negotiable for me. So if somebody is begging you for money every single phase without even finishing up the phase that they are in, they're just not. I'll give you a quick example. You guys are gonna say that I'm like, you're a freaking lie. The contractor that I work with, I I I did the demolition with his company, and it went so well, which gave me the confidence that he could take the entire job, right? So we did the demolition, it all paid out. I said, now I would like a quote for the entire project. And I can go on and on with the green, I said green flags, right? We talk about red flags, but the green flags, I'll talk to you guys about that. But what I want to say to you is that we were shit rocking. And I call him and I say, man, I need to pay you. Like, I need to meet you and pay you the deposit, because you're already done with phase one. We are getting into phase two. I need to pay the deposit and phase one, because that's what we have on our agreement. He's like, don't worry about it. We'll meet at the end of the week, and then we'll figure it out. I don't hear this a lot. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying this to brag. I'm just saying that it's this sense of ease comes when I think I made a decision that I was not going to tolerate different things.
Mhm.
Therefore, I attract people that are also playing at a very high level, and they are
Right.
out there. They
Well,
might
and
not be as in high quantity, but they are out there.
yeah, I love that, and I want to say that you ask yourself two things, and what great questions, ladies listening, to ask yourself too when you enter into a project or enter into a new business or enter in anything for that matter that you want to have ease and success with, right? Because we want both. We don't want just success and achievement. We want it in a way that works for our lives and works in a way that really works for all the roles we have. You asked two questions. You said you just said, what am I not going to tolerate that,
Yeah.
this time around?
Yeah.
But then you asked a very important question as a follow-up to that. What do you really want? Because we
Mhm.
get what what we think about. So if you're only in the not like, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like that, and then you just stop the process, you would have maybe gotten that stuff still because it's
Yeah.
like it's the not, it's the negative. But then you asked the follow-up question. You said, what do I really want? And then you started it. Then you just rattled off four things. I want someone who's fair. I want someone who's organized. I want someone who has integrity. You're very clear. It wasn't like you were like, well, I'm not sure what I want. Like
And
you know what you want.
yeah, but you
And
know what happened? I had a
what?
problem once I did that.
Oh, okay.
I
Here we
got
go.
I got two people that met those criteria.
Yeah.
And one of them was a brand new person, right? And
Mm.
the other one, which is a general contractor that I adore very much, that I like to continue doing business with him, that I trust him very, very much. So I have both of them. And then I had to make a decision which one I wanted to work on
Wow.
this my primary house,
But not only did you
right?
have one reliable person actually, and where did you
Two.
find these two people? Let's talk about that. See the
Sure.
specifics.
I don't know where the first the one that I have already a relationship with is Tom, and you we worked with Tom
Mhm.
before on New Hope. I don't remember who referred Tom to us. It was a long time ago.
Sure, sure.
I don't remember, but Jonathan that I'm working with right now, I was really searching for general contractors, and I was on Facebook, and he posted something very funny. He said there was a picture of a truck with drywall on it, and then he posts, don't you like when the drywall is delivered on time, like
Mm.
something like that. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
you're speaking my language. You're speaking my language. You're like weird thoughts about like dry all on time, the smell of lumber and all that good stuff. And then I text him, and the goal for me was like, how did I build trust with this guy, right? Because I didn't say, hey, hello, hi, you're on Facebook, and then we're meeting here, and then you're gonna take over my primary. Absolutely not. I did like not a test, but the demolition part showed me a lot about him, and I can go over the
Yeah.
green
I
flags,
love that. The green flags. Yeah.
the green flags.
What would you say?
So we scheduled time to meet, and he show up. He was there when we meet, and we met on time at the property. That was like okay. And you might be here, come on. Yeah, nowadays people don't show up, or they say 5 minutes, like I'm running late, or I won't be able to make it several times, right? That happened. And I walked through the project with him and demolition. I am not doing a full gut on this property. It's not like a huge, so it will be easy to say, listen, take all down, right? There were things over there, there's no need to take it down, that needs to be written. So he was taking notes, he was taking pictures, but and then at the end he's like, give me 10 minutes because now I'm going to walk through the property, recording myself and spelling out the scope of work. So when I get home, I can put together an estimate, an accurate estimate, and send it to you. And then I was like, oh, damn, check, right? Because it's great because it's people. I don't have a good memory. People, if they don't take notes, pictures, and measurements, how do they actually are making a great,
Mhm.
estimate about how things are gonna do it? And the good thing is that I did receive his proposal on time, as he said he was going to. Again, follow through with what he said, and it was very a hygienic proposal. Was It had a picture of my house, it has the information about his business, it had a very detailed scope of work that I was like, damn, okay, I'm very detailed, right? So I can go over line by line, and the pricing, the payment plan, and the time frame. I was like,
Wow. Bingo, bingo,
wow,
bingo.
bingo, bingo, bingo. So it's just like, okay, he's following through. And then now let's go with the execution, right? That's very important. He said, okay, we're going to do this in 3 days. In the middle of the second day, he's like, we are actually done. And the house was like clean. There was no trash. There was nothing going on. I was like, great. He under promised, but delivered much faster than we thought, which allowed me to say, okay, now I want a price for the entire thing. And then the same thing happened over and over again. So when I made the decision, it was hard for me to make it, right? Because with Tom, there's no need to build more trust because I already trust him. I knew that that was going to be at ease as well,
Mhm.
completely. What with Jonathan, what I felt is that it is time for me to follow my instincts, trying it out, and it felt the right fit for me at that moment, right? And that's what I decided to go with, and it's working. It's working well. You might be able to see some videos and pictures on our Instagram pretty soon.
The decision-making process, I think with anything in investing, especially when it comes to like choosing contractors or choosing team members, um, people can spend a lot of time there. So for you, what was your process? What did your process look like? Did you step back? Did you make a pro and con list? Did you bounce it off of people? Like, what is you always
Hmm.
like to ask, right? In our podcast,
Yeah.
what's your criteria? So what was your criteria when you were kind of figuring out the best way to go?
Hmm.
Because that is something a lot of women can struggle with, not only just contractors,
Sure.
but people and choosing team members.
Well, the problem is that they were like check.
Right.
A lot of the things they
Good
were they
choices.
were they were checking it, right? The difference is that I never worked with Jonathan before, and this is not like too complex of a project in my books. People
Mhm.
might say, "What are you talking about?" But in my books, it's not too a complex project, right? And one thing that I also look is like bandwidth, the
Mhm.
time frame. In this case, I had a very tight time frame that needed to be done at that time.
Mhm.
So availability of them uh, defer slightly, but it did defer on that. They were very similar on their proposals, which made me very comfortable moving with one or another.
Yeah.
And then my gut too. I had to follow my gut on it, right? I always wanted to have two or three general contractors that I can trust and rely, because they also have other clients that
Sure.
they need to
If they're good.
serve.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So it might not be a good time now, but it might be a good time a month or 2 months from now to work with
Mhm.
another contractor in a different projects. And I really wanted to work with somebody new. That was something that 2022 is like thriving, fun, and just like creating that. And then when I say fun, and then you guys might be hearing me and saying fun in a construction environment. And I mean, yeah, fun in a construction environment. I'll give you an example, right? This house had a huge, in the living room, was covered by a mirror, head to toe,
Mhm.
huge. And then I said to him, say, Jonathan, would be so cool if we could record me like throwing like a hammer on it and like blah, splashing the
Mhm.
whole thing, right? He's like, cool, no problem. I was like, can I throw the first one, before you guys go and just demolish? It's like, no worries, come and then you do it. So when I got there, Jonathan had 5 different types of hammer for me, a
Mm.
hat, and a glass. And he's like, I'm going to be on this corner over here and I will record you. I was like, that's so cool. That is so cool.
That's neat.
Right.
I've
And
not seen
then,
that video.
yeah, I'm going to post it. It's going to be on
All
our
right.
Instagram, because guess what? I throw a freaking hammer to the mirror and it didn't do a thing.
Oh,
So
wow.
I had to try like 5 times.
Oh, wow.
And the last time I threw it so hard that it went through the drywall. So
Oh.
the mirror was really glued with
Wow.
some like special glue, who knows what it was, over there,
Special
that I was
glue.
like, this is crazy. But I had some fun on it,
Yeah.
had some fun. So it's important for me to add that, and it is available there for us.
So I love your intentions. I love that you went into this like, okay, what am I not willing to tolerate? What do I really want? Then you attract these two contractors, one you knew, one you didn't know, and
Mhm.
had a positive experience. And you had a really tough decision of which great contractor here can I possibly go with? And you chose one. So tell us a little bit about the managing part. How has this been different managing this versus like a core investment property? I think investors do look at their primary residence as investments in some ways,
Uh-huh.
even though if it's not putting your
Yeah.
money in your pocket right now. But
Yeah.
I don't know how investors don't like. I look at my house that way,
Yeah.
even though we're living in it. So,
Absolutely.
how have you navigated that? How have you managed it? Curious to kind of get some of your secret sauce there.
Right. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be picky with my house and just like very detail and well, it's actually not. I'm excited to just move in and go for it. I
Yeah.
selected I selected the finishes as I wanted, a little different than what I would normally do with the rehab. But what has been different right now is like how much time I have available. When you trust somebody, when you hire the right people, you gain so much more time. It's not even funny when you have somebody that can communicate and get things done. And I'm not even joking with you guys, right? After I finish over here, I'm going to stop at the project to select the stain for the floor. He
Mm.
already sent me 3 pictures. Very nice picture because it has like 3 samples and the cans in front of them. He already put it in 2 places and he already gave me a heads up like, I put it in this area, in that area. Take a look. What do you think? This is my opinion. He makes the process easier for me, much easier. I didn't have to go anywhere to get any freaking stain, nothing. He put it there for me and I said, I'll stop by, I'll take a look, and I'll make a decision right on the spot. I don't need more.
Right.
What can I
Right.
right? Like the tile, what shape of the tile? He's like, option number 1, option number 2, 3 or 4. 3. Go for it. Like it's when you're working with competent people, you gain a lot of time. When
Mm.
you're working with incompetent people, you are micromanaging a lot, you're stressing the hell out, and you're spending a lot of time on things that you really don't want to.
Right.
Either because it's not your strength, either because you don't like it, or it doesn't fit anymore. So I don't need to be in the midst of anything. I always ask them when they ask me something, I throw it back to them and I say, what do you think should be the best way to move forward with this? They give their opinion and say, I
Right.
think I like that. Let's go. Same thing with the electrician. I work with this electrician, Carl. He is one of the best, and I didn't check any other person to do my electrical part because I really wanted him. But it's the same thing with Carl. Same exactly model.
Yeah.
I worked with him before in small projects and multi-million dollar projects. His integrity has been the same in small or big. He runs. I don't even know if I pay Carl. Yeah, to be quite honest. I don't think I did. I didn't get any invoice. He doesn't care. It's not that he doesn't care about the money. He knows that he's going to get paid. I
Yeah.
have built a relationship with him and he's amazing and I refer a lot of business to him, but it's not like, oh, if you don't pay me, I can't move forward with
Right.
whatever it is, right?
Right.
One another thing that I would say to you, Liz, is in terms of criteria, they're all flexible people and also look at the projects as like, okay, this is a problem. How can we fix it? You want to hear a problem that I had and
Sure.
how the contractor did? So I walked to the property. There's one area there that is a specific floor, and Juan, the guy that runs the job, he was installing a different one. So I went to him and said, oh my gosh, Juan, I don't think there's a miscommunication. This is not the floor that we're going to install in this area. And Juan looked at me and he said, uh-oh. One thing that I always say to you guys, look at how happy and easygoing are the people that work for your contractor. Okay. If they are stressed out, something is off.
Right. They're getting that stress from someone. Mhm.
something is happening, right? So Juan look at me and say, "Uh-oh, let me call, let me call Jonathan." And we call Jonathan and say, "Listen, I hate doing this, but it's not the floor, right?" So at that moment, we had two choices, right? We could say, "Oh, that it's blame you or me or whoever for the mistake." But he
Mm.
didn't go that area. He's like, okay, you're going to get what you want. Let's resolve this right now. Let's focus on the resolving the problem instead of saying, oh, your fault, my fault. Well, I told you, oh, I'm sorry. But whatever it is, we didn't care about that at that moment. At that moment, it was like, let's resolve the problem and then we'll figure it out after.
Right.
What miscommunication, who cares later on who was the miscommunication? It happened, it happened. If it is on me, great,
Right.
I'll take responsibility. On him, great, he's going to take responsibility. And that's what happened.
Love it.
He had to take the floor out and put a new one in and move along.
But here's, you always say, here's the deal. Problem solving is so important in construction, right?
Yeah.
In projects. So
This shit happens all the time,
of
multiple
course,
times a day.
but if you have a new relationship, I know the woman out there listening to this because I'm in my head thinking about it too, because I don't think managing construction is probably my core genius. However, if I was doing it and then I have a contractor who's, you know, just not bringing, they're not problem solving, right? They're showing
Uh-huh.
me some of the red flag, but I have to course correct. This is the person who I've
Yeah.
hired. They haven't completely screwed me. Like, a lot of us are
Sure.
redirecting a new relationship. So, in that circumstance, say they didn't bring the solution to the table. Say
Yeah.
he said, "Oh, maybe it's a different response." Not that they blamed you, but
Sure.
they didn't go into problem solving mode as much as you may
Yeah.
have wanted or needed.
Mm-hmm.
What could you have done in that situation? Because I think it's an important skill set for women to hear and to really
Mm-hmm.
hone,
Mm-hmm.
because things aren't going to, because you've had so many people right in the past
Yeah.
that happened. So how would you have handled it if Juan didn't say, okay, like what if he said something different
He's so
and it didn't
cute.
elicit the response that would have been ideal? How could you have handled that to get the same outcome?
Sure. And I think that as we evolve, right? As investors, we really level up our leadership skills.
Yeah.
And we read the body language, we read all of it that I didn't have those eyes before. To me, what has worked for me is to really have a very clear understanding of their strengths. And if there's a gap there, say, listen, those are my expectations, right? And I'm all about, like, I ask Juan all the time, what do you think? He doesn't know if I this is my first time or if
Sure.
it's my fifth time. I
Right.
don't care. And I trust and empower him. Like, I like that one. Let's do that. Let's make it easy, right? No stress, easy going. Let's go. Empower them to make the decisions. If you know the answer, like, how can you get there with them? How can you walk through with
Yeah.
them and have a conversation? I think that when the stress comes, it's like, well, it's not working. So listen, I just want to bring this up because it didn't work. It's not working.
Yeah.
The crew not showing up, or we're delayed over here. This part here is not working. What can we do to put in place? What do you think I can do to help you guys out over here?
Yeah.
And just shush and let's talk about it, right? And then it's your decision if that keeps happening, if you're going to tolerate that or not.
Yeah.
It is yours. And then it is either you get it or you don't. And
Yeah.
then the lesson is on you.
That's true. And I think you've always done this. And I think it's very, very important too, to remind the women listening and just all of us that you do have to continually take accountability, 100% accountability of what's going on under
Yeah.
your watch.
Yeah.
And I think that's sometimes really tough, but it's so empowering, right? Because if you're taking 100% responsibility, you can course correct it. If you blame, oh, it's the contractor, do. It's so, and at first it's really easy to do that, but it's actually not empowering. Like you said, you always say, a lot of ways we give our power away. And it's the last thing we want to do as women, is to give our power away.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And I think that, when we exercise that muscle across the
mhm.
board, then you are really taking responsibility for everybody's success and their failures, right? As a leader, and you want to have groups of people. I think that that's one of the skill sets that I've been working on the couple of past of years more than anything else is how can I be a better leader? How can I serve the people that work for me better?
Yeah.
Right? It's not like, oh, they are serving me, so they do what the hell I want. No, how can I serve them? Right? I want to make sure there's this sense of ease that is cool for to work
Mhm.
with me as it is, and it goes back and forth and it flows. When it flows, it's really remarkable. I look back at the relationship with the contractors that it flowed very well. There wasn't this like, wow, what the hell's going on over here? This level of stress as I had at the beginning, where I couldn't see
Mm.
where were the pieces of the puzzles. I couldn't see the red flags, but I also couldn't see the green flags at all. So they were all like the same. And like as it is expected, that a general contractor is gonna run away with my money and send me 100 change orders and all of that. So that was the goal, and I tolerated that a lot. That's why I think I had to be quote unquote harder
Yeah.
on a lot of people, because I had to have like a very tight leash, because when 17,000 was stolen from me, I was like, oh, okay, I got the lesson. The lesson is on me. I hunt that back, of course. But the lesson is on me. And now I don't feel like that. I like to deal with adults. I like to deal with professionals. And that's what I tolerate right now. I don't tolerate less than that. And I don't think that the professionals want to tolerate people that also don't have their shit together.
Yeah.
And so it's a good match, right? But I think it starts with us. When we level up, they will level up as well.
So I'm going to get really personal on this. What
Sure.
leadership skill have you felt like you leveled up recently that you've been really honing in on? Which
I
one?
think I've learned a lot from you, because you're mastering building and cultivating relationships, and that is not something that is on my personality predictive index, on my
Hmm.
print, on none of the things. That's not. But I think that I have learned by osmosis, by watching you, by seeing the other side, and doing my best and trying to really hone that organically and honestly, right? Because I had conversations with Jonathan, and I said, my gosh, you're so lucky your wife is a life coach. From now on, I'm just hiring people that are life coaches.
Oh, that's
that,
fun. His
that
wife's a
you know
life coach.
yes,
Oh, that's really
yes.
funny. So he's got yeah, that's neat. That's really neat.
Right. So it is just like interesting. And we talk about family, we talk about he's from Kenya too. So uh, I made a joke with him when I was writing the check, because it was like a broken number, right? A lot
Mm.
of like broken. I was like, man, help out the immigrants that can't spell. Next time, do a rounded number. And he was like cracking up
That's
with
great.
me, because he gets what I'm saying, different ways. So he's immigrant too.
Right.
So it's important for me to also be mindful of diversity.
And I think if I was to answer that question, my answer could be different than Andressa's, right? Because we all
Okay.
have different things that come easily to us. And there's other things that Andressa does really easily that doesn't come naturally to me, but it's something important as a leader, like being decisive. It's something I'm really working on, me personally. And so, not to make this about me, but my point in saying that is to level up and to attract and cultivate and manage different types of people, contract, thinking about right from the beginning of the interview, you talked about, making that list and being intentional. What do I really want? And you kept saying with ease. And if you're watching this interview, ladies, watch it. If you're listening to it, watch it on YouTube, because you can tell Andressa's way of being. There's ease in her way of being right now during this interview. And not just during this interview, like she's putting on a show. Me experiencing Andressa, certainly, as she's saying she's been working on it, I see and feel a sense of ease from her. Why am I saying this right now? Is because for you to level up, right? And to attract and to do what we want to do as women, making the impact we want to make as women. I'm really working on this, or this is a leadership skill I'm working on. This is not just saying you're working on it, but literally like your body language, literally the way you're coming across to people. And I can tell you, because I work closely with Andresa.
Very close.
She does, very closely. I talk to her sometimes more than my husband some days. And I have to tell you, Andresa, your way of being, there is a sense of ease with your way of being. Now, Andresa is pretty direct, if you haven't gotten that from her in general. So there's been moments of like us going back and forth on topics. And I see, she's still her direct self. It's not like that's like never to be found. But overall, there's a sense of ease that she has with everything we're up to in our business and for her in her own life. So I want to say that, not to just give you kudos, but I want to say that because for you to level up and for her to have said that, and for me to like, wow, she's working on that. That's interesting. I wouldn't have said that obviously on a podcast, but I want to say that it's so true because it is our way of being. And if you're not sure of how you're coming across and you're working on something, go to 3 people that you work closely with and ask them. They'll tell you. What a great exercise is a takeaway from today.
Absolutely.
Go into these projects, right? With intentions of what am I not willing to tolerate and what do I want? What specifically do I want working with these contractors, working with these team members? And then is it aligned in what leadership skill am I leveling up so I can orchestrate all of this beautifully with ease? What do I need to really hone in on? And am I coming across that way? Because if you're not sure, go ask a few people that know you. They'll tell you.
But one thing that I would say though, I don't think I will be able to level up if you are not leveling up together, with me. I will either pull you down or you will pull me down.
Sure.
We have done more than ever a lot of work and seeking mentorship from people that are playing on different level, and they pull us up, 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 and really like I found my sweet spot.
Yeah.
When you feel like you found your nest, and then I don't want to deal with anything else, right? And same thing with Liz, but in partnerships is really like a structure. I don't see like this table with one leg. Is really not really possible to do it. So as I level up, Liz level up too, and we level up as a group, and we level up all our entire community. Because guess what? When we level up, we're going to push the boundaries with our Strive members. We're going to push the boundaries with our meetup leaders, and they're going to push the boundaries to everybody that we are attending our live events. So there's like a
ripple effect,
a ripple effect that goes around and around as we do that. And we're not just saying this to take credit. I'm just saying this because then we're not going to tolerate somebody complaining about it, because we already experienced that there is this possibility. So how about we choose that and try it out and see it? And when I am experiencing a breakdown, my mentor says, well, how about if you choose this path over here? And we go to that path and discover this new Mario world that just opened up. And you're like, wow, this existed before and I didn't know. Well, that's our responsibility to really share with all of you what we have truly experienced. So so you can also live life on your own terms, whatever that is.
Whatever that means to you. So Andresa, where can the women listening learn more about you? In case they don't know where to reach you, where would you like them to reach out to you?
Jeez, that's correct. That's fine. Okay. We have a website called therealesayinvestor.com. You can find more information over there, or our Instagram account. We love all the stuff that we have going on is there on our Instagram.
Good stuff. All right. So our fabulous 3 questions. We're gonna round these 3. I had to actually go into Dropbox.
I was gonna say that.
And I might butcher them because I don't ask them ever for the 200
Should I ask myself?
No, I'm going to ask you. I kind of got the gist of it. I might reword them because I like to make things up. But
okay.
What has been the most transformational book you have ever read?
Well, I'm gonna say the most recent, right? That made the most impact in our business. I think when you and I read Rocket Fuel, it really was like a change of chapter, when we really understood, deeply understood, after reading Traction and different books from then. You are a visionary, I am an integrator. What does that really mean? And for all the women out there, you got to know which one you are, because then your partnerships are going to really thrive when you really understand, am I a multiplier, am I a simplifier? And all these terminologies, it became part of our language, resolving problems, creating new projects, who is going to handle it, who know how. Like, I'm spitting out all different books, but those books that I'm saying, who know how, rocket fuel, traction, the gap in the gain, they all became language that Liz and I use in a daily basis, making decisions and growing our businesses. So that's what I would say. Anything that Dan Sullivan puts out there, get it, read it, do it.
Love it. So, routines. What routine do you implement on a daily basis that helps you create a financially free and balanced life?
I already shared with you guys different things over here when I answered those questions besides the schedule. This year is the year of me doing less. So I always look at what I have on my schedule and say, how can I delegate this? I don't want to do this. Who's going to do it? How I'm going to do this just once? And practicing that with Liz and I, we're like, oh, we need to check Calendly to figure out what the problem is. Like, nope, no, we don't. I'm just gonna send an email to our team and they will figure it out what's going on. And that is like a muscle that we are like really practicing over and over again to step out of a lot of things. We cannot delegate being a mom, being the host of this podcast, but a lot of other things that we have on our plate are out of the plate.
Yeah.
So I always look at my weekly schedule and say, what can I delegate?
Okay. Love it. Love it. So, which women has inspired you the most?
Oh my God, that I don't know. I already said my mom. I didn't think of that.
Mhm.
I think I would say the women in our community. I would say that. You know why? Because they come, they play in full. Our Strive members are just like so humble. They are so successful, but so humble at the same time. And they bring me the fuel for me to continue, right? When we see somebody like getting the support that they need and like going through a hurdle and getting out of it, feeling like, damn it, I conquered this, it gives us fuel to continue doing what we are doing with the
Yeah.
investor community. That is really fulfilling, more than doing projects, right? To me, right? Still seeing that women are building their legacy for the next generation to come, and I'm contributing to that. That's what really matters. So for all the women on our community, I
Awesome.
would say.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for sharing yourself here today in a different way. We're always interviewing, but it's cool to be interviewed by one another. So thanks for sharing your, not just strategies, but like your way of being, right? Because that is when it's going to make the difference for anything we want to achieve in our investing business. So thank you, Miss Andresa.
Thank you for having me. I hope you guys enjoy it, and let us know what do you think. If you have more questions, I'm happy to answer. Enjoy. Bye. If you enjoyed this podcast and want to receive updates on our next interviews, go to our website, therealestateinvestor.com. There, you can subscribe to our show, become part of our investor community, and get updates on upcoming episodes.
If you like our show, please share it with other women who would benefit. And don't forget to leave us a rating on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. And as always, we encourage you to take one action as a result of today's show and put it into motion so you can live both a financially free and balanced life. Thanks for spending time with us.
Ciao.